Hello, everyone. I'm Ethan Cannistra. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of the Ethan Cannistra Show. This is the show where I go into the latest news and world movies and give some insight into what it all means. And thank you for all those joining on YouTube and on WZPT Gettysburg. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's get started with the first topic of the day. And I bet you can guess what it's going to be, considering what movie is opening this weekend. So, first off of what I would like to talk about today is what the big movie is that's opening this weekend, which is obviously Avengers Endgame. So, first off, I want to go through some last minute theories before I see the movie tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So, for all those of you who are worried about maybe getting spoiled for the movie, don't worry. I have not seen it yet. I don't know any spoilers. I've seen the trailers, so if you consider any of the trailers to be spoilers, maybe just tune out now. But I really have not sought out any spoilers. I had no additional information. I had nothing like that. So, with all that out of the way, let's get into the first theory that I have about Avengers Endgame. And that is that I really think this movie is going to rely on time travel for a majority of this plot. I think that the Avengers are going to defeat Thanos, or maybe at least somewhat, maybe not defeat him as in like kill him, but fight him, beat him, get him to try and turn back reality back to the way it was before. And he's like, well, even if I wanted to, I couldn't because the stones don't work anymore. So my theory goes that within the first hour of the movie, the Avengers go to where Thanos is hiding, which is, I believe they're calling it the Garden. This other planet they went to after he did the snap, because you saw at the end of the film, he uses the space stone, he goes into a portal, and then the film ends with him sitting in this chair, and he's just looking out, watching the sunset on a grateful universe, just like he said he wanted to do. I think the Avengers go there, and we know that this happens actually, because it's been in the trailers, like the Avengers are going to the Garden to confront Thanos, and I think the Avengers might actually win this fight, because clearly we have Tony, we have Cap, we have Black Widow, we have Captain Marvel now, we have Thor. They're all going to be together, so I think they will have the ability to defeat Thanos. They beat him, they're like, turn back time or bring back. Everybody's like, well, I can't. The gauntlet's damaged. Because even the Russo brothers said in the Avengers Infinity War commentary, the gauntlet was permanently damaged after what Thanos did after the snap. You can even see it too a little bit after after he does the snap. You can see him doing. You can see that the gauntlet is damaged. It's really significantly damaged. It's charred up, and it even damaged his arm to quite an extent. So I do think that we are going to see him say, look, I don't want to do this, and even if I could, I can't. So no hope's going to be gone. All hope's going to be gone. The Avengers are not going to know what to do with themselves after that. And then in comes Scott Lang, Ant-Man, out of the quantum realm. And then Scott brings new hopes to them. He's like, look, guys, I was just stuck in this place called the quantum realm for quite a little while. I have an idea about how to bring all of our friends back. And then they're like, all right, let's try it. And then that's how we see, about another hour of the movie. We see the Avengers going through time, going to different, I think, in the set pictures, we saw them going to an alternate reality. We saw them going to the first Avengers movie, which I think is definitely a possibility. Hold on one second, guys. I gotta fix my microphone for the radio. Hold on one second. Alright. And now... Alright, we're good now. Sorry, my microphone that's broadcasting to WZPT radio is not working for some reason, so I just had to switch to another microphone. Okay, so what I was saying is that I think Scott comes up with an idea to go into the quantum realm, because they defeated Thanos. Thanos can't bring everyone back. They go into the quantum realm, time travel different movies, like the first Avengers movie, maybe Civil War, maybe Thor, maybe try to assemble the rest of the Infinity Stones, and they try to reverse time. They try to reverse the snap themselves. And then we get to the last hour, which I really don't know what to think about this last hour anymore, because there's a lot of people out there thinking or saying that have seen the movie already that this last hour is just insane. That it's like one of the best hours of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in any Marvel or any superhero movie I've ever seen. So, that does lead me down a couple of things. And really, I have absolutely no idea what happens in this last hour. This is me purely speculating. I think that everyone comes back. I think the Avengers reverse the snap somehow, and most, or at least some of the major characters come back. Maybe Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. Those characters come back, and that's what leads into the last hour. But I really have no idea what to think, what happens in this last hour, because I would think that the snap was reversed after 2 hours and everyone was back. That would be in the movie. It's done. The Avengers won. But maybe it's not that simple. Maybe them meddling with time, traveling through time, trying to reverse this horrible thing that happened, and them succeeding unleashes a new threat that they eventually have to stop. In the last hour is every single character in the MCU coming together to defeat that threat. Again, I have no insider information. I've not seen the movie. There's no spoilers I can give. There's just me speculating, but I think that would be a really, really cool thing for them to do. I thought I'd talk about a few things I really want to see in this movie. And granted, I don't usually like doing this, going into a movie and pretty much just saying what I want to see. But I do feel as though that Avengers Endgame is like a completely different beast when it comes to franchise movies. There's just a few things I really want to see. One of which, and the most important one in my opinion that I really want to see, is I want Captain America to say Avengers Assemble and every single Avenger to come together. Not just the original six, but granted, if Captain America says Avengers Assemble and we get a really cool scene with the six Avengers, I'll be totally cool with that. But deep down, I just really want a scene with Captain America and he just says Avengers Assemble. Then we see all the original six Avengers, then Doctor Strange, then Black Panther, then Spider-Man show up, and everyone is there to confront this big bad that they might have to fight at the end. Again, don't know if that's going to happen or not. Just some things I would like to see. The relationship between Tony and Cap, and we've pretty much had this confirmed at this point a long time ago that this was going to be a central focus in the movie. But I really want Captain America and Tony to reconcile at this point, because we had the whole fallout with Civil War. Tony found out that Bucky killed his parents. Tony couldn't exactly move past that, and now Tony and Steve aren't exactly on speaking terms anymore, as Tony said in Infinity War. So I would like to see that relationship patched up a little bit. Wouldn't be the I do think they will. We've had it confirmed multiple times by the Russo brothers that is going to be a central piece of the film. We've also seen a couple of parts in the trailers that make it look like that's going to be one of the jobs that this movie's going to accomplish. So I think that's pretty safe too. And then just some core interaction with the original six Avengers, because it's been a while since we've seen them on screen together. The last time we saw the original six was in Avengers Age of Ultron in 2015, I believe. That's 4 years ago. That's a while. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that long. But in the MCU, that's a while, because we had Captain America Civil War after Age of Ultron, but not all the original six were there. Thor and Hulk were off doing their own separate things on Sakaar, so we didn't really get to see those two characters in Civil War. So I want some interaction between Tony and Thor and all those. I really want some good scenes with the original six, and I think we will get that. Marvel, one thing that they've done really well is that Marvel knows when to give the audience what they want, and then when to not give the audience what they want. And what I mean by that is sometimes the audience has this very specific thing in mind that they want to happen. And Marvel doesn't always do that because they have something much, much better in mind, and it usually always pays off. But also, Marvel does have a tendency, and this is a very good thing, to do some fan service, which is not a bad thing as long as it is used in the right way. I don't think fan service is a bad thing. And here I think it's an example of fan service, that you're going to get the original six together with some very key and important scenes. And I think that's really important for the fans. Reward the fans for staying with you for 10 or 11 years at this point. And I think Marvel's definitely going to do that, and I'm happy to see that. I've also gotten that impression a little bit from the trailers, but we'll just have to wait until tomorrow to see. I'm so excited for this movie. I don't know if I'm going to make it through it, because I am slightly concerned Captain America or Tony Stark is going to die. I don't think they will, honestly, but I think in this movie there's a better chance than ever that one of them is going to die, and I'm just not emotionally prepared to handle that. But I am going to do a review. I don't know when I'm going to do it yet. Probably sometime during the show next Thursday. I'd really like to do a review. I might do two reviews, actually, a spoiler review and a non-spoiler review. So for all those of you who have seen the movie, you can join to talk about all the spoilers that are open in a safe space, and a non-spoiler review for all those who have not seen the movie yet. So anyways, let me know in the comment section, are you going to see Avengers Endgame? Are you guys excited to see it? Any things that you would like to see, anything that you don't want to see, anything like that, comment below, let me know. Alright, let's move on to the next topic of the day. And that is that Gemeni Man, the new Will Smith movie directed by Ang Lee, released its first trailer and poster the other day. And I'll be honest, I am cautiously optimistic about this movie. On one hand, I like the trailer, but this movie could go south so fast, it's not even funny. One of the reasons this could go south so fast is because of the main character of the movie, which is Will Smith. Will Smith is a great actor, but they're having two versions of Will Smith. So in the trailer, we see that There's a younger version of Will Smith that's sent to hunt an older version of the same character um, by another government agency. But how they're doing this is it's Will Smith playing his younger self and his current age self, and they're using CGI digital technology to de-age Will Smith. We've never seen this technology used to this extent. Some of you might say, "Oh, but we saw Samuel Jackson de-age in Captain Marvel." Yeah, we did, but I saw some set pictures, and they did not use very much CGI at all to de-age Samuel Jackson. A lot of that was makeup work, and Samuel Jackson looks pretty young as it is. That you put some makeup on, you do a tiny, tiny bit of touch up with Samuel Jackson with Captain Marvel, you can make him look 20, 30 years younger. Will Smith, you can clearly see, even just in the poster here, that there's some pretty significant CGI that they had to use to de-age Will Smith. I don't know how much of it is makeup, but from the looks of it, it doesn't look like makeup. And it does make me cautiously concerned, because in the trailer, it looks great. It looked really good. But you can make anything look good in a 2 minute and 30-second trailer. It's another thing entirely when you have a 2.5 hour movie that you need to fill with this exact same effect. It's never been done to this level before. Look, Marvel has gotten really, really good at it over the last few years. We saw it with Robert Downey Jr. In Captain America Civil War when he did the barf demonstration at MIT, where it was like a projection of his memory. We saw it with Hank Pym, Michael Douglas, and Ant-Man the Wasp, and Ant-Man. And I feel like there's one more. Oh, we saw it in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with, I can't remember the actor's name, but Star-Lord's father. We saw him de-age for a few minutes. But the thing in Marvel movies is that you've never really had a character that they digitally de-aged in that much action. They're if you notice, they're very stoic. There's not a whole lot of moving around. They're kind of just standing still and delivering dialogue, which is fine. And that was very hard to do on its own, just having a character standing there delivering dialogue with a DH face. We've never seen a DH CGI character that's going to be a main part of the film and going to be going through a lot of action. Because it's a whole new ballgame when you go from a guy running around shooting guns, doing all these crazy acrobatics, from someone standing in a room delivering dialogue about saying goodbye to his parents. Those are two very, very different things. So it just makes me a little concerned. Look, does the trailer make it look like it's going to be good? It does, for sure. The trailer did a great job of showing what they're going for in the movie and that the visual effects look great. But part of my concern is that they put a whole lot of effort into making it look good in this 2.5 minute trailer, and it's not going to look as good in the polished film. And that's just because we haven't seen it done before. Look, I do believe that Ang Lee and everyone involved in this movie can make that effect look good. It's just going to be very difficult, and I'm going to be cautiously optimistic until I see it. Let's talk about the actual plot of the movie itself. I think it looks really good. I've always liked these alternate versions of people meeting. Like we have it in the TV show The Flash all the time. Barry goes into Earth 2 or something like that to meet alternate versions of his friends, or maybe an alternate version of himself. The Flash also did in season 3. Spoiler alert for The Flash, but it was from a few years ago. The main villain of the season was Savitar, and it's actually an alternate version of Barry Allen. I think it's really cool, and I always like stuff like that. And this is no exception. I think it looks cool. It's a really neat idea. Could this movie crash and burn? Yeah. Ang Lee is certainly not perfect. He did his 2003 Hulk film. That was by no means perfect. But I think this looks good. This looks like a good new outing for Ang Lee. He took a break from sci-fi for a little bit. So this is like his first sci-fi movie in about 13 years. And I'm excited to see it. I think it looks good. And Will Smith, you can't ask for a better actor than Will Smith to play this role. If anyone can pull off playing two different characters in the same movie, it's Will Smith. I think Will Smith is perfect actor. I think he's an Academy Award nominated actor. He's great. And I think he's the perfect choice for this role. All right, let's move on to the next topic of the day, and that's we have another trailer, and this one for Men in Black International. I really like this trailer too. So I know a lot of people didn't like the first trailer for the Men in Black International movie, but I actually really liked it. I thought it was really fun. It seemed lighthearted, fun. Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson had great chemistry. Liam Neeson looks like he's going to be awesome in this role. I mean, it's Liam Neeson. He's awesome. So I was excited for it with the first trailer. And then the second trailer came out, and we learned a lot more about the story, and I moved more on board with it. So Tessa Thompson's character, I really like the route that they're going with her. And pretty much the story of her is she has an experience with her family, and they see aliens. And then for any of you who are familiar with the Men in Black franchise, you know what happens after that. They get Men in Black at a call. They go to the house. They take care of the problem. Then they neuralize whoever saw the aliens. By neuralizing is pretty much you take this thing, this machine, it's a flash, looks like a camera flash, and it wipes their memory. So the Men in Black erase Tessa Thompson's character's parents' memory, but not hers. So she grows up for like over 20 years not knowing anything about um, what the Men in Black actually are. She remembers having this experience as a kid. She remembers seeing her parents get neuralized, but she doesn't actually remember, or she doesn't know what they are. She just knows that she saw this alien in the secret organization. So she spends 20 years looking for them. And I find that really interesting. She has a personal stake in this whole thing and has a personal stake in wanting to join the Men in Black because traditionally nobody knows who the Men in Black are unless you're either an alien or you're an agent. So I think that's really cool. Chris Hemsworth seems like it's going to be like a lot of fun to see. I saw someone online point this out, and I got to agree with it. Chris Hemsworth character in Men in Black International pretty much seems like a cross between his new Thor and his Ghostbusters character. And I wasn't a huge fan about his Ghostbusters character, but I liked aspects of it, and the aspects of his Ghostbusters character that I liked are clearly shown in this new trailer. So really like that. And as we've seen in Thor Ragnarok, Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth has great chemistry, and this movie's no exception. They seem like they're going to be great on screen together, and the humor seems like it's going to be actually really good. There's one in particular joke that they made where Tessa Thompson wants to drive, and Chris Hemsworth is like, no, and Tessa Thompson gets into the car thinking she's getting into the driver's seat like she's in America, but they're actually in London, so the driver's seat's on the other side, and Chris Hemsworth says, oh, now in this country, the steering wheel's on the other side, and then just a lot of funny moments like that. And I completely forgot Kumail Nanjiani, who from The Big Sick, and he's in the new movie Stuber coming out this summer. He actually has a role in this, which I completely forgot about because I was watching the trailer and there's this little alien creature. I'm like, he sounds awfully familiar, and then I realized it was Kumail Nanjiani, and I just completely forgot. I remember reading a story that he was cast in the movie. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. And I completely forgot about it. And I heard the voice, and I was like, that's him. He seems like he's gonna be really funny. I mean, Kamal is hilarious. I really like him a lot. So I think he'll definitely be a good addition to the cast. And I like that they're going in a slightly different direction with this. Look, this movie is very clearly Men in Black. It's not taking a whole lot of originality to it. It's not taking a whole lot of liberties from the original, but they are making it their own distinct version. And I really like that. They're not trying to copy the Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones version. They're going in a slightly new direction, but while also maintaining its original charm. And I like that. Going international, having this new cast of characters seems really interesting and fun. And I like that we're also going to see this new global network of Men in Black headquarters because we see her leave from New York and then go to London. I think that's going to be really cool to see. All right, guys, so what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. Are you excited for this new Men in Black movie, or do you not really care because you hated Men in Black 3? I know a lot of people did. Just let me know in the comment section what you think below. All right, so let's move on to the next topic of the day, and that is that we actually have early reactions from Detective Pikachu. I am actually going to grab my iPad real quick because I have a few reactions I would like to read off. Hold on one second. All right, so there was like a couple of fan screenings that came out earlier this week, and then some critics were actually able to see it too, which I was surprised about. And I'll be honest, I was not completely thrilled with the idea of a Detective Pikachu movie. I thought, really, do we really need a Detective Pikachu movie? This sounds really stupid. Not on board with it at all when it was originally announced. Then the first trailer comes out, and I was like, okay, that seems interesting. I'm willing to have my mind change. So the first trailer comes out. I liked it. Second trailer comes out. I liked it even more. And then they've just been killing it with the marketing lately, especially Ryan Reynolds. And then that was another thing that got me on board. I was like, Ryan Reynolds is casting. I was like, all right, that doesn't get me on board with the movie yet, but I'm intrigued at the very least. Then I saw the trailers, and I was like, I got on board. And then the first reviews came out. I gotta admit, I'm really surprised. All right, so we'll start out with this. Dan Casey writes, Detective Pikachu is pure joy from start to finish. It's a heartfelt, relentlessly charming story filled with excellent world building. Plenty of deep cuts for Pokemon fans. There must have been a grass type in the theater because I got surprisingly misty-eyed in some parts. Paul Shirley writes, had a fun time with Detective Pikachu, silly, heartfelt, and chock full of Pokemon, which makes for some great world building and what is sure to spin off into one hell of a franchise. Perfectly suited for fans and non-fans alike. My reaction to Detective Pikachu, so cute, fun for the whole family. Pokemon obsessives will be pleased. Novices will be able to follow along and will maybe even get sucked into the whole world. In summary, I want to cuddle Pikachu. Detective Pikachu is a painfully cute, jam-packed with action, and will make you wish you lived in the world of Pokemon more than you probably already do. So clearly, people really like this movie so far, and I have to admit, I'm really surprised. Am I blown away by these reactions? No, because the marketing has really been killing it lately, and I'm really surprised by that. I mean, we're talking about a Detective Pikachu movie. Never in a million years would I thought I'd be looking forward to a Detective Pikachu movie. But on top of the marketing, on top of Ryan Reynolds' marketing on his private social media page, he posted a really funny behind the scenes clip of him doing method acting for Pikachu, and it was really funny. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think it's on Ryan Reynolds' YouTube channel. You can find it really is easily. Just search like Ryan Reynolds Pikachu, and you'll find it super quickly. It's really funny. Um, I mean, he's kind of taking some of his flair from Deadpool that he did. Like he clearly was very influential in the marketing for Deadpool and is applying that to Pokemon. And I really like it. But you have a lot of people here, film critics, saying that they love the movie. Now, I will admit, there is one thing that concerns me. It's not really a concern, it's just a still I'm cautiously optimistic about it, is that a lot of them said if you're a Pokemon fan, then you really like the movie. Well, if you're not a huge Pokemon fan, because I think a nostalgia factor definitely plays into these reviews, without a doubt. So there's that. Is nostalgia factor playing into these reviews or not? I would say it is, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean the movie's going to be bad. It just does make me question how good this movie is going to be at the end of the day. I think it's going to be good at this point. I'm cautiously optimistic. Trailers have been great. The reviews have been great coming out so far, and I'm really excited to see it. And I also grew up with Pokemon to an extent, not as much as a lot of people who grew up in like the 90s did. Growing up with the 2000s, I had a Game Boy playing Pokemon. I had DS games playing Pokemon. I collected Pokemon cards as a kid. So there's definitely a nostalgia factor in play for me with this film. Um, but by no means I am the biggest hardcore Pokemon fan by any stretch of the imagination. I just liked it as a kid, and when I saw Detective Pikachu was coming, I was like, oh, no. And then I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, I remember that Pokemon, blah 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 blah. So it did bring back some memories and some nostalgia. So that might be one reason why I go out to see it. But anyways, what are you guys looking forward to? Are you looking forward to Detective Pikachu? Do you think it's going to be good? Did the trailers convert you like it did for me? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright, so let's move on to the next topic of the day. And there's a few things in this regard that I wanted to talk about. And it's actually Star Wars Celebration. There's nothing in particular with Star Wars Celebration I want to talk about. I just kind of want to do an overall recap of the news that came out of Celebration. So, two big things, obviously. One is the poster that I have up right now, and that's The Rise of Skywalker. One of the best titles, honestly, I think Star Wars has had in a long time. Look, The Force Awakens, we get it. Star Wars is coming back. The Force is awakening again. The Last Jedi, alright. Luke Skywalker is going to be featured heavily in the movie. We know what happened in The Force Awakens, so Luke Skywalker is probably going to be the Last Jedi, and that's what the movie is referring to. New Hope, pretty self-explanatory. Empire Strikes Back, again, pretty self-explanatory. Return of the Jedi, same thing. This is the first title that I've gotten from Star Wars that I'm like, what does it mean? Because I'll be honest, I have no idea what it means. I have seen a few theories online, a few that I like, a few that I don't, so I'll address those first. One is that the Rise of Skywalker is not referring to Rey, it's not referring to Luke, it's not referring to Leia, or it's not referring to Ben, it's referring to the rise of a new order of Force users called the Skywalkers. Because we saw in The Force Awakens, or not The Force Awakens, in The Last Jedi, Kylo Ren wants the Jedi gone, he wants the Sith gone, and we've seen that the Jedi are gone. Rey is like the Last Jedi now. And I know the whole thing, like Luke said, I will not be the Last Jedi, and Rey's going to train a new generation of Jedi. But what if that fails? And what if Rey starts a new Force order called the Skywalkers? And that would also make sense because Luke Skywalker's first draft of Star Wars actually had the Skywalkers be the name for the Force use for the Jedi. It was originally I think like the Adventures of Luke Starkiller or something, and they were called the Skywalkers, not the Jedi. So we have that consistency there. We've seen that Disney, whatever you think about this, is trying to move away from some of the older stuff, and what better way to do that than wiping out the Sith and the Jedi and making a new order of Skywalkers? I don't agree with that. I don't like it. I'd rather have them just keep the Jedi and Sith around, but it's definitely a possibility, and I'd honestly be okay with that explanation. If Rey starts a new order of Jedi, called the Skywalkers, a new side of light users called the Skywalkers. I think that would be fun. But on the other hand, another part of the theory, so I do like the theory that the Skywalkers are a new side of light side users. On the other hand of the theory, I really don't like the theory that the Skywalkers would be a gray Jedi. Now, for those of you who don't know, gray Jedi are a combination of light side and dark side users. But that's to provide some very inconsistent things in the Star Wars canon. Because I think it's Yoda who says, like, once you are tempted to the dark side, once you go over there, there is no coming back. Once you give yourself to the dark side, you can't come back to the light. So how would a Force user exactly go between light side and dark side at the same time? There's really no way to do that. There's been no canon explanation, so I wouldn't be a huge fan of that. I feel like that would really conflict some canon. Now, another theory is the Rise of Skywalker refers to Ben Solo. That Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, is going to come out of the dark and go back into the light. This theory I don't buy at all. I'll tell you why. Kylo Ren is irredeemable at this point. Kylo Ren killed his dad. He almost killed his mom. He's irredeemable. He had his moment where he could have turned to the light. Han Solo was on that bridge with Kylo Ren saying, "Come home," and he's like, "I know I have to do, but I don't think I have the strength to do it. Can you help me?" Then he turns on the lightsaber and kills Han Solo. He had his opportunity to come to the light side, and he failed. So I really don't think that Kylo Ren can be redeemed or should be redeemed. It would feel like kind of a cop-out to me. And especially with JJ coming back to direct, I really don't think he's going to redeem Kylo. Another one is that I do subscribe to a little bit more is that Rey is a Skywalker. That the Rise of Skywalker refers to the rise of Rey. And we learn that her parentage is of the Skywalkers. I give it a little bit more credibility than Kylo becoming a Skywalker. But still, no, I've heard from multiple sources online that J.J. Abrams' original plan was that Rey was a nobody. That Rey was just abandoned on Jakku by her parents. They sold her for money, and that was the end of it. And there's a few things that back that up in the movies, too. We see the conversation between Maz Kanata and Rey in Maz's cantina, and she said, "Whoever you're waiting for, they're not coming back, but there's somebody who still is." And then Rey says Luke, pretty much implying that Luke is not of her parentage. And then there's also that whole scene in the Last Jedi, which is a more obvious one, where Rey and Kylo Ren are talking, and everyone keeps saying, "Oh, see, Kylo was lying to Rey. Kylo told Rey that her parents were nobodies," but Kylo wasn't the one who said that. Rey was the one who said that. Rey is the one who knew the whole time. So for those two reasons, I don't think so. And JJ has said from the beginning, JJ and Daisy Ridley have said from the beginning that, yeah, we knew when we started shooting this that my parents were nobody. That was not related to anyone of significance. But do I think it's possible that Rey is actually Skywalker? Yeah, I think it's a distinct possibility. Possibly J.J. Abrams wants to go back and redo some stuff that he originally thought was a good idea, but he doesn't like anymore. It's definitely a possibility. He would be retconning some stuff, but it wouldn't be a huge retcon. So while I think it's possible, I think it's very unlikely. And there's two more possibilities who the Skywalker refers to, and that is Leia. That Leia becomes supreme leader or something. She starts a new government after this movie, and she's not ruling the galaxy, because it wouldn't be a new empire. Leia obviously would not do that, but Leia would create a new democracy, create a new republic, and maybe she's in charge of that. She becomes the first president or something like that. I think that's unlikely, just because I don't think that Lucasfilm has enough footage of Leia to use. I think Leia will play a significant and important role in the film. I just have a really hard time believing that Leia's going to be in charge or be able to have enough footage to show her rise to power to a new government. I just think that's really unlikely. Is it possible? Again, yes, this one's possible. I just think it's unlikely because they don't have very much footage of Carrie Fisher to use for the movie. And then the last one is that the Rise of Skywalker refers to Luke, which when I saw the title, I'll admit, when I watched the trailer and saw the title screen come up, The Rise of Skywalker, I was like, oh, so Luke's not really dead. And I do think that's a distinct possibility. I firmly believe that JJ had plans to use Luke Skywalker throughout the rest of his trilogy, and he did not like that Luke Skywalker was killed off. I really do believe he had plans for that. And for J.J. Abrams to bring him back, I think that's thoroughly possible. And I'll be honest, this is the theory I subscribe to the most, just because there's some stuff in the trailer that I'm like, it does point to that Luke could possibly come back. And there's one specific line where Luke says nobody's really ever gone. I'll get back to that line in a second when I talk about the actual trailer. But when Luke says nobody's ever really gone, I wonder if he's referring to himself, possibly. He could just be referring to himself as a Force Ghost, because we do know that Mark Hamill's coming back for this movie, and he's going to be a Force Ghost at the very least. But it's possible he was referring to himself coming back in the flesh. And Rey never says to Leia when they're talking at the end of The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi that Luke is dead. All Rey says is Luke is gone. Maybe Luke just teleported off that planet at the very end because he knew that the First Order knew where Luke was and he couldn't stay there, so he had to go somewhere else, so he teleported off the planet. Who knows? Look, is this theory a stretch? Absolutely. I just really want Luke Skywalker to come back. I wanted to see him light a lightsaber and fight some stormtroopers and stuff like that. I would just love it if he came back in real form, not Force Ghost. Don't get me wrong, I'll be happy if he's back in Force Ghost, but I'd really like to see Luke back in the flesh in Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, that we now have a title for. Now, let's talk about the actual trailer. A few things that I want to touch on. And then I'll save the big thing for last. I'm sure you all are very familiar with at this point. One is Lando is back. We got a very quick glimpse of him, but it was nice to see him back. We see him in the Millennium Falcon flying around and stuff, which we did hear about that Billy D. Williams is getting up there in age. So it makes sense that Billy D. would be sitting around for most of the movie in the Millennium Falcon piloting it. I do think Billy D. will have a significant role in the movie. I just think he'll be sitting around a lot for it, just to make it easier on him, because he probably wasn't very mobile on set. We see the medals that Han and Luke got from Episode 4, which was cool to see, just like a nice little nod. And then we see Rey looking out at the fallen Death Star. Now, there's two possibilities, one of which I think is a lot more likely, that I'll address in a second, but it could either be the first Death Star that has a leftover piece that landed on Yavin 4, or, which I think is the most likely scenario, is that it's the Death Star 2, and it's in the ocean on Endor. And I'll tell you why. Because of the laugh at the very end of the trailer. We hear the Emperor's laugh, confirming that Ian McDiarmid is in fact coming back for Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And if there's any doubt that that wasn't Palpatine's laugh, we hear the laugh. Palpatine, the actor who plays him, Ian McDiarmid, came out, said, "Roll it again." So clearly the Emperor is coming back, and that's why I also think that the Death Star is the Death Star 2 that we see in the trailer, just because what happened to the Emperor? He was pushed off the edge by Vader. He was pushed off the edge by Vader on the Death Star 2. So it would make sense that he would be there. Maybe he didn't actually die. Maybe he's just living in the rummage or something, or he's using it as a secret base. Or maybe it's a Force Ghost, and the Emperor's Force Ghost can't leave that area. Whatever the explanation is, I really do think that's the most likely scenario. That is the Death Star 2. Why it's the Death Star 2? I don't know. Well, and then the question remains, too. Do we see the actual Emperor come back? Do we see a Force Ghost of Emperor Palpatine? Do we see a clone of Palpatine going into some of the more deep cuts of the extended canon? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. I have a feeling that Palpatine's going to play a significant role, and I think we're going to see a real version of Palpatine back, if I had to put money on it. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll see a real version of Palpatine back? Will it be a clone? Will it be a recording? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright, so let's move on to the last topic of the day. That's that Ben Affleck actually has officially announced what his next project is going to be. I just want to pull up a quote from Variety real quick and read it. I can't remember what the name of the film is, but I'm just going to read the synopsis they released. So the film tells the true story of a squadron of recruits from art schools, ad agencies, and other creative businesses who were tasked with fooling the Nazis into thinking the United States had a larger troop numbers than it actually did. The book follows a group of young GIs, including fashion designer Bill Blass, painter Ellsworth Kelly, artist Arthur Singer, photographer Art Kane, and others, who conduct a secret mission. Their job was to create a traveling roadshow of deception armed with inflatable tanks and sound effects. Movie sounds a little familiar. It's definitely giving me some vibes of Argo. Kind of like this crazy story that's impossible to be true, but yet it is, and these people do it, and they do it successfully. Because I'm assuming they do it successfully. I don't know the full story. But it sounds a lot like Argo, and in my opinion, Argo is the best movie that Ben Affleck has directed, and he's a great director in his own right. So, am I excited for this movie? Yes. As you can see here on the poster, the movie Live by Night, not great. but okay. Um, but his other directing movies, Gone Baby Gone, The Town, Argo. I feel like there's one more that I'm forgetting. But anyways, he's a great director in his own right, and this seems like it's right in Ben Affleck's wheelhouse. This story that's almost impossible to be true, and it is these group of people that shouldn't be able to do this job, but they can, coming together to create something special. It seems like it's right up Ben Affleck's wheelhouse. And also, it's nice to see Ben Affleck coming back again. He kind of took a break for directing a couple of years. He had some personal issues, I'll say. He went into rehab for addiction a little while ago. He got out. He's doing a lot better. He had the whole Batman debacle that kind of, I think, took quite a toll on him. And this movie came out a while ago. I don't think it says the release date on the poster here, but I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm really looking forward to seeing another movie directed by Ben Affleck. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for this? Do you not really care about Ben Affleck? What do you think about his other movies, Argo? And does that make you more excited for this movie? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps up our show for today. Thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube and on WZTV Gettysburg. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on WZT Gettysburg, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ethan Cannistra, Ethan C-A-N-N-I-S-T-R-A. And until next time, goodbye.